Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvell. Coming to you from the College Sports Today studio, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell.
Along with the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, I'm Terry Norvell. Glad you're with us here on a Friday edition College Sports Today. We got a lot to cover. Shane Matthews out at a charity golf event today. So, Coach, me and you will take it home. Boy, you got a lot going on. There's some stuff we want to get to. We're going to do a Florida Football Flashback. We've done a few of these before, and we're going to focus on the 1991 Florida football season. So, Florida Football Flashback, Coach, coming up in a moment. But, boy, a lot of stuff going on, including a really, really neat event at the restaurant last night. Talk about it.
Yeah, we had a fundraiser for the Florida's Rising Stars. This is an organization, a charity that tries to help underprivileged boys and girls, high school age, and so forth, to get them introduced into not only sports, to play sports, but to maybe be a broadcaster or a writer or whatever, any kind of sports-related industry, to try to give these kids an opportunity. Scholarship money to go to college and things like that. It's called Florida's Rising Stars. Bobby Bowden and I have been with this group for well over a year now. And hopefully we raised a bunch of money last night for this charity. I
saw a lot of the photos. Look like y'all had a good time. And FSU fans, welcome. You're right into that restaurant, boy.
Wayne Hogan is either the president or vice president. He's one of the top guys in the charity. And he was there last night, introduced me and so forth. And, of course, I got up and mentioned that Wayne was the sports information director during that 14 years that FSU was top 4 in the nation. Between 87 and 2000, a lot of people forget.
Incredible
These
run.
guys, top 4 in the nation every year. And we had to play them 11 of those years.
Yeah.
They were at least between 4 and 1 in the nation. And I told the people last night, I said, we didn't like FSU very much back in those days. They didn't like us very much because they were always top 4 in the nation. But now they're close to the bottom 4 in the nation, and they're pretty nice guys.
Nice as can be.
Those FSU guys, I found myself rooting for the FSU softball team recently. Somebody said, how can you root for them? I said, because they've never won one. Oklahoma had already won a couple. I'd like to have seen them, maybe win that first one. But it didn't work out. But anyway, FSU, they're nice people right now.
Yeah,
they're very nice.
Yeah, they are, and that's a really good organization you guys are with, and it does some really, really good things for young people, and it's always good. A bunch of good people too. I saw all those photos. Coach, you were talking about Florida has a football commitment, I guess. A young man has made his intentions known. Last name of Humphrey. And, he's an interesting, you were telling me some interesting stuff about him.
Oh, big article in the paper recently. Julian Humphrey, I think he's out of Texas. One of the top 25 or top 20, I don't know what. Highly recruited kid, either 4 or 5 star, but he's already got his own TikTok account and with over 1 million viewers.
Goodness gracious.
And so after he committed, here's why he came to Florida. He can use his TikTok account, perfectly legal nowadays. He's got his own clothing line ready. Julio's Island is the name of his line.
I'll play off the DB thing.
Had his hoodie, shirt, so he's got his own clothing line ready to go. We're known as DBU, he said, so he's going to be a first-round NFL pick. He got a chance to be first-round NFL pick. He can do some all-field appearances, autograph signings, and things of that nature. And I said, whatever happened to guys coming to Florida to say, hey, I want to graduate from a top 5 public university, which we are. I want to win some championships here with my teammates. I love the coaches. Coaches love players. There's a wonderful attitude here. and I can achieve everything I want in my college experience by coming to Florida. Now, Dan Mullen and his staff do an excellent job. They present all of it.
With this new name, image, and likeness.
Name, image, likeness.
Yeah.
And Jamie McCluskey, our compliance director, he's got it all approved. So Dan Mullen and our staff has done a super job. And they do stress the parts I just said about winning championships and this, that, and the other, and coming to Florida. But it's the players, the high school kids, instead of I want to graduate from that school and win some championships and blah, 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 it's a different day.
It is.
No question about it.
Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. It really is. But that is impressive. That young man, obviously, we know he's coming out of high school, so he's in and around 18 years old and already organized and got his business set up. You know, you got to do business license. You got to do that the right way.
And if I was coaching at Florida Day, I'd be doing just what Dan Mullen's doing. He's emphasizing the opportunities, and he's emphasizing the team that we can win championships here and so forth. So I think we're in line to have a really good recruiting class. We've got that big new facility coming.
Yeah.
We've been behind, no question about it. Clemson, they jumped ahead of everybody in the ACC, and you see what's happened there. They're the top team, and we need to catch up with these other SEC schools facility-wise.
Yeah.
And our new place should be open in 2022.
Now, you were over there last week or earlier this week. The final beam of the structure was going up, and there was a big to-do. Talk about that real quick.
Well, a bunch of us signed the beam. It was called a top-off event.
Is that what it's called? Okay. Construction term, I guess,
Yeah, it's just a term, but we're not there yet. But it's.
But we're topping it off the structure.
Yeah, we've got enough of a little structure to have a top-off event. So, it was neat to have a lot of people there, and sort of a groundbreaking, I guess you'd call. But we still got a lot of work to do there, and it will be a fabulous facility.
I know. I saw and read Coach Mullen's comments from that event, and he was downright giddy. He was saying he thinks, he's seen it all and all the drawings. He says, man, when this thing gets done, our student athletes are going to have as good a locker room as that you can possibly have anywhere. He's giddy about that building.
Yeah, I think it's an $85 million building there and so forth.
Wow.
And it's right here on campus. The indoors right next to it. The practice fields are right there. So facility-wise, we would join those top teams in the country right now. I bet if you ranked our facilities in the nation, we would not be in the top 25.
No,
we
probably
would
not.
not be in the top 25. But this will put us maybe in the top 5.
Wow. And then the factor baseball in, and I think lacrosse and soccer are getting a redo or remake over at their facility soon. So that whole complex.
Well, they're in pretty good shape. Our
Yeah.
spring sport people. We've gone to help those immensely, and it's time football steps up a bit, which we're doing.
I think
and
football.
get Scott Strickland and Jeremy Foley. Jeremy started this, and then Scott Strickland has really added on and done a super job.
But from what I understand, you know it more than I do, Coach. The football stadium is right next in line. They've got that pretty much. They're ready to start, in the next couple of years. Football's high on the list of, okay, we need to renovate some more on the stadium. So it's right around the corner.
Yeah, probably some more chairback seats
probably.
instead of just the bleachers.
Probably.
That's true.
Probably. Let's set things up here. Here we go. First half of the show, the main thing we want to do with Coach Spurrier, we've done it 2 or 3 times. We've picked out the 1991 season. It is a Florida Football Flashback, of course, with this guy, Coach Steve Spurrier. So we're going to go through the 91 season like we did with 90 a couple weeks ago. Second half of the show, we will break down. Trent Intorcia will come on. Coach Spurrier will be out and about, and we'll get Trent on the show and bust down the College World Series. I know you wanted to talk real quick about the World Series, though. Your thoughts? Down to 8 starting tomorrow. Arkansas knocked out.
Well, yeah, obviously we've got 3 SEC teams with Tennessee, Vandy, and Mississippi State. I'm pulling for Mississippi State.
Sure.
I don't know if they're quite strong enough, but they got a dang good team, and I'm pulling for them because they've never won one. It would be neat if they could win the first ever. I sort of pull for teams that have never done it before, but I sort of think Vandy might repeat. And the reason I say that is because my high school team, we won it my junior and senior year, Tennessee State Championship, and there's been so many repeats in baseball. South Carolina went back-to-back.
Back-to-back, yes, they did.
And I think Oregon State at one time went back-to-back.
They went back-to-back recently.
So there's history of people repeating, and that's one reason I'm going to go with Vandy to win it all.
Yeah, Arkansas was the odds-on favorite, and they got knocked out. When you're in team tournament situations, you don't always have to knock out the big bully. Somebody else can do the heavy lifting. NC State did the heavy lifting. That was very impressive.
It was amazing. Arkansas beat them, 21-2 the first game?
First game.
And it's dangerous. It's dangerous winning big because you have a sense of, there's no way we can lose to these guys. We're going to just show up tomorrow and beat them and go on home. And I gave an example the other day, Terry. I don't know if you remember back in 1991. We actually beat Alabama at home here, 35-0.
We're going to look at that in a minute. Yep.
Yeah, 35-0.
Yeah.
So we go to Syracuse the next week. Why we're going to Syracuse, I don't know. They did the deal about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they had come here in '85, and we were going up there in '90 or something, 91. And we got the crap beat out of us. They beat us like 38-17. Yeah. Syracuse, they'd barely beat Wake Forest the week before. Yeah. But that was my fault. We'd won big. We thought we were invincible. Yeah. We thought we'd just show up and Syracuse would lay down, and they knocked the crap out of us. But we needed it, and it was not a conference game, so we came back and regrouped and realized if we're not ready to play, we'll get clobbered again. So we regrouped and went back to running the ball and trying to be physical and all that kind of stuff, and then won all of the rest of our games.
Nice. Matter of fact, we're going to get into that. Evan, if we can throw the schedule up, let's go ahead and get into our Florida Football Flashback. If you want to send any questions on Facebook Live, feel free. Coach, here's the schedule, and we'll go back and forth to this. 91. Let's start. You were in a little different position compared to going into the 90 season. 90, you're looking for a quarterback. You just gotten here, year number one. Spring and fall, you were figuring out who your quarterback was. Shane put on a good spring. But the 91 season, now let's get to the 91 season. Big step is you already had quarterback by then. Shane was coming back, so talk about that. It's nice to have a returning quarterback in 91.
Yeah, well, we actually won it in 90, but because of the so-called violation that really wasn't a violation, and we couldn't go to the Sugar Bowl, they said, well, you're not eligible. So anyway, I'll always claim 90, but 91 would have been the first official if we could win it. But, we had Shane. We had a lot of the guys back. It was a similar team. I think we might have even been picked to win it in 91 since we'd won in 90. But we did lose some guys on defense and some offensive linemen, but we had pretty good replacements all the way around. So our goal was definitely to win the SEC because we had a team capable. But here's something interesting. We had completed the North End Zone project in the summer between 90 and 91. So our opening game, we played San Jose State on there. Okay. We had the largest crowd in the history of a football game in the state of Florida ever.
Pro or
largest ever. We had 83,000 plus for San Jose State. And I thought that was pretty neat. And that shows you how the Gators love football here.
59-21.
They showed up, screamed. I think we scored our first 3 possessions. Harrison Houston caught about 3 or 4 touchdown passes early. And Shane hit them. They were a blitzing team, San Jose State. They got 8-9 guys on the line of scrimmage. So we just loaded up with 8-9 blockers and just had one guy going out for a pass.
Get open.
So Shane would take his steps and throw it. So we jumped on them pretty good there. So that was a good opener.
And you mentioned Game 2 in 91, the Florida Football Flashback. We're in the 91 season. Game 2, I mean, think about the Alabama perspective. You and your team in 90 beat Alabama in a close game. Then, second game of the year, 91, night game on national TV. You and your team absolutely undressed Alabama, 35-0. You just don't do that to Alabama on national TV, but you guys were 2-0 right out of the gate against Alabama. Talk about that Alabama game real quick. Just things got rolling, 35-0.
Well, we had them at home. And the year before, Auburn came in 90, and if they'd have beaten us that day, they would have gone to number 1 in the nation. And we beat them 48-7.
Beat them bad, yes.
So, I mean, we had a feeling whoever we played at home, we had a good chance to beat them and really beat them pretty good. But the Alabama game, and they were loaded that year. They lost to us 35-0. Then they won 22 in a row.
How about that?
So, they won the national championship in 92 after that 91 season. And they were 7-1 or 6-1 in conference play, and we were 7-0 to win it in 91. So Alabama was very good, but we got on them. Eric Rhett rushed for 170 yards, I think, and had about a 60-yard touchdown run or something.
Just beat them bad.
So, Shane,
national TV.
Yeah, it was a really good performance, but the fans were, people started realizing the advantage the Gators have at home. The way our guys, our fans screamed and yelled that game especially.
But right out of the gate, you and your Gators as the head coach, you're 2-0 against Alabama right out of the gate. Beat them year 1 in 90, beat them year 2, and beat them bad in year 2. And that was a hell of a rivalry that was getting started in the 90s. We've already touched on the Syracuse game. Kind of go up there and just kind of one of those games. It happens in sports. Just kind of one of those games, right? Seemed like everything Syracuse did that Saturday in the Carrier Dome went right, and just one of those games.
Well, they were ready to play, and we weren't. Probably the worst week of coaching I ever had.
Was it a hangover from Alabama?
Well, it was part that, and I got a letter from a fan that said, Coach, you need to calm down on the sideline. He said, you're yelling and screaming and encouraging and da-da-da, and we're afraid you're going to burn out real soon. So, maybe you need to be a little more calm. I said, you know what, that guy may have a point. I'm going to be as calm as I can be this week. At Syracuse, we're not going to have any problem with those guys. And we got clobbered. We just went up there. They ran the opening kickoff back. Then one of their running backs ran for 170 yards. And we had a great defense. But our guys just,
one of those days.
If you're not ready to play in football, you can get beat.
Yeah.
And we thoroughly got beat. And so, like I said, we regrouped after that and won the rest of the games.
So you go to Syracuse in 91, get the loss. 2-1. Mississippi State, neutral site, Orlando, 29-7. Solid win. And I think they had a player that had a situation, bad leg situation, and passed away or something. But
Rodney something, I can't remember his last
terrible
name.
tragedy.
Oh, terrible tragedy. Broke his leg somehow in the game, and they, carted him off. He was fine. They got back to Mississippi, and I think they took him to the hospital, and somehow an infection or something occurred, and
terrible.
And he didn't make it. He died from that injury, which was something that should not happen. No. But I guess it can.
29-7, solid win, SEC win, neutral site over Mississippi State in Orlando. Next up in 91, Coach, was a trip to Baton Rouge. LSU, Saturday, October 5th, Florida goes to Baton Rouge. The Gators win. You win and throw a shutout, 16-0. Must have been a pretty good LSU team. I can't recall that game real well, but 16-0. LSU put up a good fight.
They did.
At home. What do you remember about that game, LSU?
We didn't score much, that's 16. For sure. But our defensive team was certainly outstanding. Shutout at LSU.
Doesn't happen very often.
I think we kicked 3 field goals and only had 1 touchdown. So
pretty good LSU team.
Sometimes you play conservatively to win the game, and we got ahead, and they weren't going anywhere. So I think we sort of take care of the ball.
Don't do anything stupid.
Don't do anything stupid. Yeah.
So you chased the win at Baton Rouge, the shutout win over LSU. You chased that the following week, a huge one, an absolute huge one. Tennessee comes into Gainesville. Was the next stop on October 12th in the 91 flashback season we're looking at. Tennessee 7-3 at halftime in Knoxville. The final score was ridiculous. It just got out of hand. It was a great football game in 90 for the first half. That was a huge build-up. Another night game, if I remember, I was at the game. Talk about the big win. Was that the Larry Kennedy interception game? Talk about
it was.
Florida.
Yeah, it was. A lot of fans said that was the loudest game ever to that point, 91, and there were some events later. Of course, they said that was louder. But, we're playing Tennessee in 91 at home. They clobbered us up there 45-3, so they came in pretty confident. And they had plenty of ball players.
And they had some of those ends still. Those rush ends were Chris Smith or somebody, whoever that was tough.
Oh, yeah, they had plenty of ball players. Johnny Majors and Fulmer and all those guys recruited extremely well back in the 80s and 90s and so forth. And their defensive coordinator, I can't think of his name right now, but right before the game, he came up and said, Coach, are y'all going to run those steamer routes you ran last year and against us? He said, we got your playbook. You remember when all that playbook crap? Ron Zook knew a guy up there, and the guy said, here's some pass patterns they like.
The copytronic
they had our playbook. We had a GA here who went up there to be a GA and stole one of our offensive playbooks. And I said, we're going to run those routes, but we got some change-ups on it you might see tonight, just to give you a little heads up. But anyway, that was 35-18. We were up, 28-18, and then Larry Kennedy sealed it with that interception. So that was a loud game.
Huge game.
And it was good to beat those guys.
Huge game.
After losing the year before, it was good to beat Tennessee.
And had to get them. You had to get them if you wanted to win that SEC. You had to get them. So you get Tennessee, Northern Illinois is a win. Then that gets us in the 91 season, a flashback with Coach Spurrier, the 91 Florida Football Flashback today on the program. Coach, that gets us to early November. You've got a trip to Auburn. Florida has struggled at Auburn historically over the decades before you became the head coach. And even when you were playing, Florida historically has struggled at Auburn. You go up to Auburn in 91, this is November 2nd, and a solid, just 31-10, just solid, we're better than you whooping of Auburn, at Auburn.
Yeah.
31-10.
31-10. Yeah, like I said, we had excellent defense, and Shane Matthews was, again, SEC Player of the Year and so forth. Prior to 90 and 91, Florida had never beaten Auburn, Georgia in back-to-back years. So to get 4-0 against those two teams was
tough.
Well, something different for the Gators.
Yeah.
And our fans started realizing, hey, we got a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. And so to get those back-to-back, you get the Auburn win on the road, Coach, 31-10. You come back, week of practice, meet up over in Jacksonville for the big one. Georgia in 91, Coach, you added on to that bookend, Auburn, Georgia, back-to-back years because you guys really roughed up Georgia that year in 91, 45-13. You just took it to them. Took it to them.
Yeah, we were better than them, one way to say it. And our guys look forward to playing Georgia in Jacksonville. We sort of mentally always said, hey,
you made that.
It's on Florida soil. It's in a stadium called the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
I said it's equivalent to if we went to Atlanta and played Georgia in a stadium called the Bulldog Bowl. Now, us Gators say, well, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We ain't that stupid. I said, well, Georgia comes down here, and they've been kicking our butt in the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what it would be like. The same, distance and everything. So, anyway, but we tried to say it's our home field, the Gator Bowl, and mentally we felt like we're supposed to beat those guys.
Yeah, so that's, again, what you referenced a moment ago. After you beat Georgia in 91, you just went back-to-back, 90-91, 2-0 in 90 versus Auburn, Georgia, 2-0 in 91 versus Auburn, Georgia. That hasn't happened around Florida football
Yeah, it's first
very
time,
often.
I think it's first time in school history
Wow.
we're 4-0 like that.
Wow. So you get the win over Georgia. Things are rolling now in 91. A hell of a tussle, a comeback by Kentucky. The following game was Kentucky in Gainesville, and the SEC trophy was right there to grab, but y'all had to finish the game off. 35-26. You get by Kentucky to officially celebrate and become SEC champions, right?
Terry, people ask me, what was the biggest win you had in the swamp? Is that game right there.
How about that?
Let me tell you what happened.
Wow.
We Kentucky is 0-6 coming in. We're 6-0. We're 35-point favorites. And the fans are getting ready to. All right, we're going to celebrate. We're going to have the trophy there, and everybody's going to come out on the field, and blah blah blah. So we're up 28-7 at halftime. I thought we'd prepared our guys that even though we're big favorites,
28-7.
Yeah.
28-7 at the half.
28-7. And then, I don't know, some of the guys were laughing and giggling, I think, at halftime. I don't know if we did a good job with them at halftime. And then they had a quarterback named Pookie Jones.
Remember Pookie?
That could run
Good
all
athlete.
over the place
Good
and
athlete.
hit passes. And then we had a punt blocked for a touchdown, and Eric Rudd actually lost a fumble. He never fumbles. He lost one. And all of a sudden they score, and it's 28-26, and there's 7 minutes left.
Oh, my.
And our fans have gone to sleep.
Absolutely.
At 28-7.
Momentum's gone.
And
Fans.
we haven't done anything to get them to yell or scream. And I think FSU was playing Miami that day.
People watching
And
that,
they-
listening to that.
The people up in the box said, we're watching that Miami FSU game. It was more important than us trying to beat Kentucky to officially win our first ever SEC. And
So it's 28-26 at this point.
7 minutes and something left, and they kick off, and on first down, Esham was called for hands to the face mask, which is 15 yards. We got first and 25 on our own 10-yard line.
Serious? Holy cow.
I think we're on our own 10-yard line.
Desperate for a first down.
Our defense was really struggling, stopping Pookie. So I said, Shane, we got to throw it out of here.
Yeah.
He hit 3 straight passes. The last one, 3rd and 6, to Eric Rett. And Eric was a little halfback option. He can hook up. He can go left and right. We're going to go back, and according to the defense, we're going to throw it to Eric. And they had a stun on, and a guy was coming free right at Shane. And he had to guess that he was going to hook up. And I remember talking to Eric later, because the linebacker was not way back, and he wasn't like man-to-man. He was sort of in that twilight zone.
So that's a read. That's a read route. Play. So nobody really knows where anybody's going. You just have to feel it.
Shane's getting ready to get hit, and he said, "Coach, I just had to hope he was going to turn around." He let it go before he turned, and when Eric turned around, hit him right in the chest, and he was able to get his pads down, and you can't knock him backwards.
No.
And he carried the guy about 2-3 yards for the first down. And after that, we did not have to throw another pass.
Nice.
So we ran it all the way down. In fact, Willie McClendon came in. Jacksonville running back, ran a little toss sweep cutback play we had, and he made about 15, 18 yards, seemed like on that play, I remember. And then Eric Rett scored from about the 3-yard line with 1:20 left. And we went up by 9, which ensured the victory. They were throwing at the end zone at the end of the game. Pookie and Orp, they were down on our 15-yard line. Last pass was incomplete in the end zone. We went blank on defense.
So they still went down the field.
Oh, yeah. They
went right back down the field.
They were going to try to score in a minute, and onside
kick that sucker.
Yeah. But anyway, that was the best drive in the history of me being here. That was the best drive, because without it, if we lose that game, the whole SEC sports writers, they'd all say, "I told you the Gators would choke again."
Choke it away.
They're chokers down there at Florida.
Choke it away.
That's what losers do. They choke it up.
Choke it away.
So we escaped that, and then went on and tried to learn our lesson from that for the future.
Then you wrapped up the 91 regular season. Florida State came in, an absolute sledgehammer of a football game. Florida wins 14-9. Coach, one of the more physical football. I don't know if you could get much more physical than that football game, that 14-9 slugfest between the Gators and the Noles. What a game.
Yeah, that was one that we could have lost, could have won. We had a touchdown call back. We did a little curl and go, and Eric Rett was actually moving to block a guy when the ball was snapped. So got illegal motion. Terrell Buckley, I think, was their DB.
Yes, it was.
And so I said, well, he won't back up. He won't go for the interception on the second one, because we hit one for a touchdown and got called back, and he picked it off the next one. He went for the interception 2 plays in a row, and we've laughed about that since then. But anyway, we were real fortunate. They were on the 3-yard line in about the third quarter, I think it was, and our Mickle, our offensive tackle, back then you could flinch at an offensive lineman and hope he flinches. Well, that's what happened. So
Big Darren Mickle,
so we got 5 yards. I put them back on about the 7 or 8 yard line, and we got a sack. And then they had another wide right. Unbelievable.
Yeah, missed the field goal
missed
after
the
they were
field
inside
goal.
the 5.
Didn't score.
Yeah.
First down on about the 2 or 3. Didn't score. So the 14-9 held up somehow.
And then a defensive stand on the other end zone late in the game. They're
I
pitching
think Dale Spear knocked the ball down in the end zone. They were firing it to end zone, and we were able to hold on and beat them 14-9,
Yeah, hell of a game. Hell of a tough-fought game. So that wrapped up the regular season. Real quick, Coach, we'll have you a few more minutes, and we'll get out of here with Coach, and then we'll talk some baseball with Trent Intorcia. That FSU win in 91 capped how about this 5-0? In one season for Gator Nation, Florida had wins over Bama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, and FSU. Gator Nation got wins in the 91 season over those traditional power foot. You gave them 5 wins over those guys in one season. Gator Nation was very giddy over that, I'll tell you. That's a hell of a 5-game run.
Yeah. This year we're bringing back our 95 and 96 teams.
Right.
It's been 25 years, and we weren't able to get 95 team back this past year because of the pandemic. So we're on our 95 and 96 teams, and they are still the only 2 teams that won every SEC game. Those 2 teams are 9-0 in SEC play. And we've always lost at least one SEC game.
How about that? So they are combined 18-0 in SEC play.
I guess I should say undefeated and untied.
Yeah.
The 84 team had a tie.
Had a tie.
Yeah, not a loss, but a tie.
Yeah, had a tie.
So those are the
LSU
only 2 undefeated, untied.
How about that?
Teams
In the heart of the
school
90s,
history.
of the 90s when the SEC was just tough as nails, those 2 schools, those 2 years went 18-0 in the SEC.
Yeah. And Urban's 2 SECs and national championships. They lost one SEC game.
Yeah.
I
think Auburn got
those
them
2
1 year.
years.
Yeah. Coach, you went to the bowl game, played Notre Dame. Weird game. You guys 16-7 at the half. You probably left some points on the field in the first half. I remember watching the ball game, and a lot of injuries in the second half. You guys were down to some second and third string linebackers, and Notre Dame got running the ball. But that game was probably lost in the first half. Am I right? The Sugar Bowl. You left a lot of points on the field.
We left a lot of points on the field. We went up and down the field and kicked field goals from inside the 5-yard line about 3 or 4 times. I think Arden Krzyzewski kicked 5 field goals. And every time our team has kicked 5 field goals, I've lost.
Is that right?
I lost one at Maryland coaching at Duke.
Is
where
that
we had to
right?
kick 5 field
Yeah.
goals. Yeah, that's what's called bad play calling on my part. It really is. If you can't score inside the 10-yard line, something bad can happen. So Notre Dame held in there, and then the bus,
Jerome Bettis.
They started feeding him, and he ran for about 160 or 80 yards in the second half.
I'm telling you, Coach.
We left all the points out there,
Yeah.
and bad play calling on my part. Simple as that.
That's late second half. I remember there was just some situations. Florida was down to like third string. Greg Diamond and guys like that were playing linebacker. You know, their third string. No disrespect to Notre Dame, but you're trying to tackle Jerome Bettis with a third string linebacker due to injuries and stuff. That's tough.
If we'd scored touchdowns,
sure.
they would have had to try to pass instead of being able to keep running the ball.
Sure. Yeah. How about 2 South Carolina Gamecock coaches in that game, right? Lou Holtz on the other sideline and Steve Spurrier. But hell of a season, though. Sum up 91. Obviously, the first official. You know that 90, you guys won it. But we did the Florida Flashback today on the 91 season. Sum up that 91 and where the 91 team and season stays in your heart.
Well, the 90 and 91, to me, are our first and second SEC championships. Now, the SEC, the reason they didn't recognize 90 was because of that investigation that came up with nothing, except they said, well, y'all can't go to a bowl, no penalties. I wish they'd take 10 scholarships and say you guys can play for the championship, but they didn't. So I consider those, I consider 90 the first SEC champ, 91 the second.
Gotcha.
But everybody else considers 91 except our team.
Yeah.
Everybody except the players and coaches on the 90 team. If they want to call 91 the first, they can call it. But 90 was the first, and when the writers all over the South said, watch the Gators choke in 91 because they're officially can become SEC champs, I simply said, I don't think we're going to choke. We're just going to try to do what we did last year. Yeah, we won it last year. We're going to try to win it again this year. And after that, we're going to try to win it every year. Yeah. We can. So the 90 team winning it made it easier for the 91 team.
And you've consistently said that. Coach, we'll let you go. Busy weekend. I hope you enjoy some golf. Watch some golf, U.S. Open. Really, we didn't get into that today because they're 3 hours behind, so they're just getting the second round going. So there's still a lot of golf, a lot of baseball. So I'm assuming you're going to watch a lot of college baseball and a lot of golf this weekend.
Yeah, who you got in the golf tournament?
You know, I don't know. Just I seem to pick one of the top 10 every time. Who do you think?
If I had to pick right now, I think I'd go with John Rahm.
Rahm? Gonna finally get him one?
Well, you know, he won the tournament there,
2 weeks ago, a week ago, whatever that was.
A few years ago when they, what was the name of it? Torrey Pines. They have one there about every year. So he knows that golf course.
He deserves it from what happened a couple weeks ago. He deserves one.
He easily could win it. He's my choice right now.
He's got John Rahm. Coach, appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend with you and your family, and be safe. We'll take a break. On the other side, Trent Intorcia, our college baseball analyst, will jump on here, and we will really break down what's going to happen starting tomorrow in the College World Series.
The good vibes. What? All the good vibes we had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Let me take a moment to thank some of the wonderful sponsors that make college sports today with the head ball coach Steve Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and Terry Norvell possible. The official seafood restaurants of the show are Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach and their sister restaurants, Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant of Mayport and the new Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant location in Crescent Beach. The next time you crave the best seafood, the freshest seafood on the Northeast Florida coast, make sure you visit Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Mayport, Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, and Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Crescent Beach, the official seafood restaurants of college sports today. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling, serving your construction job and demolition project needs among their many other services. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling is ready to work with you on your next project anywhere throughout the Northeast Florida and surrounding areas. Visit their website, all-americanrolloff.com, or call them at 904-503-1410. Campus USA Credit Union. Find out what over 100,000 members already know. Visit a Campus USA Credit Union today and find out how they can work for you financially. If you would like to advertise your business right here on College Sports Today with Coach Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and me, Terry Norvell, then simply drop me an email at tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com, and I'll be sure to make that happen. Thanks again to our great show sponsors. Now let's get back to more College Sports Today. Great sponsors make our show go. We want to thank everybody you see. Vita de Louis, Safe Harbor Seafood, you see them all. Campus USA, Sliders Oyster Bar, Safe Harbor Seafood, 2 locations, Mayport and also down in Crescent Beach. Also, if you want to become a sponsor on College Sports Today, feel free to reach out to me, Terry Norvell. Easiest way is right there on that email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. That is the easiest way to get your product or service on the show. Just like this new company, our brand new sponsor, the Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. You see them right there, Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. Really neat apparel store and online store. You can get your gorgeous, as you can see, Duval shirts customized. As you can see, you can put your side of town. If you're a big Duval, Jacksonville Jaguar fan, you see West Side, San Marco, Jack's Beach. You can put the location of your choice and customize your shirt, and each one of the shirts has the definitive Duval Yale history on the back. You want to get a hold of one of these shirts, I guarantee you they're going to be the hot item. So go to Duval Pride T-Shirt Company on Facebook, and the store is there. Duval Pride T-Shirt Company on Facebook. The store is up and ready for you to go ahead and start ordering. These are just a few of many, many options, many colors, and of course, numerous sides of town to customize your Duval shirt, the Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. We're going to now talk a little college baseball. I think we've got Trent Intorcia coming up. Hey, Evan, I'm having a little bit of a reverb in my ear here, if we can work on that. But as you probably know, we have the College World Series will start tomorrow. 8 teams have made their way to Omaha, and we want to break it down with our college baseball analyst, Trent Intorcia. Do we have Trent? I don't see him, but Trent, you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy, you're perfect here. You sound great. Want to thank you for everything you've done as we are heading into the. There's my buddy Trent Intorcia, heading into the home stretch now. Trent, and then there were 8. There are 8 left. The whole thing will get started tomorrow. 2 different brackets, right? We'll have 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday, and then it just Monday through next Saturday. It's just a battle royal to stay alive and get to that series. Let's back up. Trent, Mississippi State out of the SEC was, and Notre Dame, they were the last super regional, I guess, because of the timing. I thought it was imperative that Mississippi State for the SEC got that win. The SEC at that point had 2 of the 8 already qualified, Vandy and, of course, Tennessee. I thought Mississippi State really needed to get in. The SEC needed 3 of the 8 participants. I think that says, hey, that's why we're a tough conference. If they only got 2 out of 8, if Mississippi State didn't beat Notre Dame, did you think that would have put a little bit of a black eye on the SEC baseball season?
I think it would, because it was it last week you and I were talking about the scenario where 5 SEC teams had a legitimate chance to get in. One was guaranteed with Tennessee playing LSU, but you know what? And that series was a slugfest. I mean, Notre Dame brought it. They thought they should have been a national seed.
Yes.
They thought that series should have been played in South Bend, and they put it to Mississippi State in Game 2, and
Hell
then
of a series.
Game 3 ended up being spectacular. Mississippi State goes with the closer, Landon Sims, the last 4 innings of the game, and ended up being 11-7. So there was really never a comforting moment for Mississippi State.
It was a hell of a series. Hell of a series. Notre Dame under Link Jarrett, boy, they are scrappy like he was as a player. They are a tough, scrappy, physical baseball team, and I mean that. You don't hear that all the time in baseball. Notre Dame's a physical team. They hit the ball out of the ballpark. That final game, and we'll get off this because we want to get to the 8, but that final game, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, that played out totally different than I thought. I thought a slugfest favored Notre Dame, and there were a lot of runs scored, and I never in a million years would have thought that game was decided really on Mississippi State defensive plays. They made some great plays in the outfield to, I think, keep Notre Dame from putting some crooked numbers up early in the ball game when Mississippi State took control of that game, Trent.
Yeah, there were actually 2 laid out catches.
Yeah.
Balls hitting the gap. And, of course, the 2 guys, Tanner Allen and Rowdy Jordan, who, you know, this is their 3rd trip to Omaha, both of them. So not many can say that, Terry. And then you're right. If one of those gets down, you're looking at least 3 runs coming in.
Yeah.
First, second inning of the game. Your starter's getting touched up. You got to get him out there. You know, he's got to get out of the game early. But their starters survived it and got through, you know, got into the 5th inning. So they just had to piece together really an inning and a third, inning and 2/3 to get to the closer, who was fresh.
I'll tell you, that big cleanup hitter for Notre Dame, that ball he hit the other night, I think that thing is still going. He got into that. Trent, we would be remiss if we don't, before we dive into the 8 games and 8 teams and peek ahead to the College World Series, Baseball College World Series. It starts tomorrow. Wow, shocker, Arkansas. Pretty much everybody's favorite. Not, I don't think anybody thought they were unbeatable, obviously, but that was everybody's favorite going in. Arkansas gets knocked out by North Carolina State. What a performance after State got beat 21-2 in Game 1. Touch on, just real quick, Arkansas getting knocked out of the damn thing.
Well, it shows you how much I know, Terry, because I said far and away best team in the country all season long. They did everything. I mean, they were in the top 5 in every category that you can measure, both offensively, defensively, and on the mound. It surprised the heck out of me, just because they were so resilient all year. I mean, they had games that they got down early, and they'd be down 4 or 5 runs. Next thing you know, they're up 2 runs in the 6th or 7th inning, and then guess who they turn it over to? Their guy Cops, who what a valiant effort from Cops in Game 3. He starts and throws, I don't know, somewhere around 120 pitches or something. But, NC State's probably the hottest team coming into the tournament, but I did not see that commentary, and I got to think most people didn't either.
Yeah, I just marvel at how NC State went to that hotel Friday night having been beat 21-2 in front of everybody. That's a tough go back to the ballpark the next day and not just go ahead and throw in the bat and throw in the towel. They didn't. They won a 1-run game. They stayed alive, and it's a winner take all. It was something. We'll throw the schedule up here, Trent, for the the NCAA College World Series baseball tournament. It will start tomorrow, so it gets going tomorrow. Here we go. There are 2 brackets: bracket 1, bracket 2. Bracket 1 is Stanford. North Carolina State kicks everything off tomorrow. That's the hot NC State team and a really solid Stanford team. And then the nightcap tomorrow, Vanderbilt takes on Arizona. Boy, Arizona can swing it. So there are your 2 games on Saturday. Let's get back to Trent to kind of touch on those a little bit, Trent. Man, Stanford, we didn't see a lot. West Coast baseball didn't command we see them a lot because nobody really jumped up high into the top 5 all year. So I'm guilty. I think you might be as well. It's kind of a down year. Well, damn, down year, you got Stanford and Arizona, and I put Arizona in the West Coast because of their Pac-12. They look tough. Arizona and Stanford look tough.
And, Stanford entered the postseason just happy to be there.
Yes.
I mean, they really, to your point, they did not have lofty expectations. It was sort of a, if you want to call it a rebuild year or just a down year. But, make no mistake, they've been in the postseason a lot.
Yes.
They snuck up on everybody, though. And then, there was talk at the end of the season that they could be a national seed. They were right on that 9-10 area. And, between them and Notre Dame and, maybe Mississippi State or somebody like that, who was going to get that last spot. And once you get in and once you start playing, as an old ball player, that momentum starts going your way.
Yeah.
Now they went from just happy to be here to I don't think we can lose.
Vanderbilt.
Arizona, on the other hand,
yeah,
8 guys batted over 300 this year.
That's crazy.
How about that in the lineup?
That's crazy. 8.
Well, wait a minute. And they bopped too, right? They hit the long ball. But then you look at that and you go, okay, who do we not want to beat us? The guy hitting 312, 320, 340, 390. I mean, it's like, choose your poison. But you're right. We don't see, just like in football and really basketball, you don't see the West Coast teams a whole lot because of time zones differences and coverages. And then, the almighty SEC seems to.
And again, like years gone by, you would see a little bit and hear so much about this incredible Oregon State program. I made a point to go watch and chase down Oregon State, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and Bauer and Cole were the aces at this UCLA program. You're going, man, you're hearing these two guys are major league ready. Well, you make a point to go see Bauer and Cole, who are in the majors now. When they were 1 and 2 for UCLA, nobody just grabbed my attention. By the way, that's going to be a fun pitcher scout when you're sitting down with your with the guy that charted Arizona the day before and your pitching coach, and you look at those guys and you go, 8 guys. That's going to be a lot of fun to do a scout before your start against Arizona. I was going to bring up Arizona. Vanderbilt will take on Arizona. Trent, Vanderbilt now with Arkansas punched out of this thing by NC State. Vanderbilt is now, I guess, on paper the clear favorite. I guess, is that right?
Yes, they're, and if you looked at the polls that were put out on Facebook and Twitter, they're 50+% getting the votes. They've got the 1-2 punch. We all know that.
Sure.
In Rocker and Leiter, but they're pretty solid offensively too. I mean, they're not gonna hit the ball out of the ballpark, but they're a scrappy team and certainly battle tested.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Vandy every single year. But Arizona, quietly, I had to do a little studying just to, to get my stats right with them, and they're a scary club.
They really are. They really hit the heck out of the ball, and then we're off Stanford, but my God, Stanford went in and just made mincemeat on the road at Lubbock against Texas Tech, and in postseason play, that is tough to do. Vanderbilt, though, with the big arms, are going to get the start in 1 and 2 at least, and we'll see if they get past there. But that's Saturday, so you got a daytime and a nighttime. Stanford, NC State in the daytime tomorrow opens up the College World Series. Vanderbilt and Arizona at night. Sunday, the second bracket number 2, gets started. Our 2 games Sunday, same times by the way, 2 and 7 on Sunday. Tennessee, I know we want to call NC State hot. My God, is anybody hotter than Tennessee baseball right now? What a great atmosphere, as we thought, when they hosted LSU. They had 2,000 people on a block party outside the stadium in Knoxville. They knew they couldn't get them in. They have a big jumbotron, 2,000 people, Trent, outside the stadium in Knoxville at a block party. They take on Virginia. Virginia probably... you'll know how I mean this. Virginia, of the 8 teams standing, plays the ugliest baseball. They don't play pretty baseball. They're kind of a gritty. Is that a good description? I watched them a lot in this tournament. But you know what? They've had about 6 backs against the wall elimination games. They play ugly, but they win. Tennessee, Virginia, the first game on Sunday.
Well, and then Virginia's winning the close games, and the more close games you win, the more confidence it builds. They had a couple patches this year where they really struggled.
Yes.
I think at one point they were on a 1-8 skid.
Yes.
And about if you looked at their record before the postseason, they were pretty close to a 500 team. And if I recall, they were the part of the last 5 in group.
Yes, they were.
To get a regional bid, and then they go and win the region and then win the Super. And that was the South Carolina region, correct?
Yes, it was. They had to knock out a tough Dallas Baptist team at the end. Yes.
And Dallas Baptist could mash. I mean, those guys, and they held on. I mean, you're right. They are a gritty, scrappy team, and those are the ones that everybody's a tough out at the plate. Yeah. Your pitchers are going to battle. They've got a closer. I mean, it seems like everybody has a closer.
Everybody
closer,
does have
right?
a closer.
Dippin' Dots is their closer, you know.
He's great. Did you see the interview with that guy? He was great.
Oh my gosh, about 25 times.
Hilarious.
I kept sending it to people. I'm like, you have got to watch this. It's worth the watch. But you want a personality like that because they and incidentally they sent them boxes of Dippin' Dots to their locker room. So, but a guy like that keeps a team loose, keeps them confident. And this is where your leaders have to step up, man. If you've not played in Omaha, it is something else, and it's a spectacle. And
don't forget now, Virginia. And you said I don't mean to cut you off, Trent, but Virginia has played in Omaha. Coach O'Connor, they've got a national title. This isn't wide-eyed Virginia. They've been there. A lot of people won't recognize Virginia as a baseball power. Maybe historically no, but they've been around the last 10 years now. I mean, they've been out in Omaha.
Certainly.
They've held the big trophy up, and hell, they gave Florida. They sent Florida home one year. You know, one of those great Florida teams 4 or 5 years ago when they won it. I mean, remember Virginia and Vanderbilt? They were kind of passing along the who's the number one program at the current moment. That's going to be fun, though. Tennessee is red hot. Can they stay as hot as they have been? They will open up on Sunday against Virginia.
Here's the key for Tennessee, too, is they're a home run hitting club. And, I was going to put this in at some point, during our conversation.
Sure.
But TD Ameritrade, it's a new stadium. It's not the old Rosenblatt Stadium where the ball flies out of there. So you're going to hear the announcers say this a lot. The winds mostly blow in, and this is a big yard. So the teams that are going to have the better advantage are the gap-to-gap hitting teams versus the teams that are hitting home runs, because it's anticipated that there are not going to be a lot of home runs.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how that plays out because, boy, you're right. The DNA of Tennessee baseball is a couple home runs, and really the game winning it's rarely a single for Tennessee. It's a home run or a grand salami for Tennessee. The night game, the final fourth and final game to get the College World Series started this weekend. You're talking about two traditional baseball powers meeting in Omaha. Texas in Game 4, the second game on Sunday, will take on Mississippi State. That's the 7 o'clock game on ESPN2. Trent, you know a thing or two about Mississippi State and Texas maybe playing in Omaha back in the 80s. You might have been on one of those Mississippi State teams. How about this matchup, traditional power versus traditional power?
They're already bringing up 1985 because that was the storied game that Mississippi State had them on the ropes, and our starting pitcher took a line drive off the ankle, and they got about 4 or 5 base hits in a row, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
37th trip to Omaha for the Texas Longhorns.
How about that?
37. And you sit there and you go, well, gosh, Mississippi State's there all the time. This is their 3rd year in a row going to Omaha, not counting last year with the abbreviated season. So 3rd straight for them, 13th overall. I mean, you couldn't ask for really from a traditional standpoint, a better opening round matchup.
And you look as we wrap up with Trent Intorcia previewing tomorrow's start to the College Baseball World Series. The SEC has 3 of the 8 teams still standing. Obviously, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. Mississippi State and Tennessee are on the same side of the tournament. They're in the same bracket, so they hopefully will at least knock each other out. We hope they knock each other out, but they both can't go. We could have an all-SEC final. Obviously, it usually doesn't play out this way, but Vanderbilt, if they win their bracket, they could face a Tennessee or Mississippi State team. This is, Trent, the 12th time the SEC has sent at least 3 of the 8 out to Omaha. So perfect world for what we do here with our show, our geographical area, the SEC, the ACC. Boy, if we could get Tennessee, Mississippi State playing in the final of bracket 2, and if we could get Vanderbilt to win bracket 1, what are the odds, Trent, we could have an all SEC final?
Oh, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think it's a strong possibility. I've got in my notes here 11 of the past 12 seasons an SEC team has played for the national championship.
How about that?
So that the odds would favor, at least one team getting in there. But I think Texas is, they're going to be a tough out. But I wouldn't put anything past Mississippi State or Tennessee. And, let's go back to the SEC tournament. Tennessee put it on Mississippi State pretty good. Of course, nobody's talking about the SEC tournament.
No.
Mississippi State went 2 and out. Because the one thing that State's doing that they didn't do great all year, they're pounding the baseball right now.
Yep.
I mean, they pounded the baseball.
They're hitting the long ball. They're hitting the long ball late in the year like I didn't see them hit all year. They weren't a big long ball team, I didn't think. They're hitting the long ball.
No, they weren't a really good hitting team. Now, something to watch out for on the Mississippi State side is the starting pitching has been up and down late in the season. You get into that bullpen early. We seem to say that about everybody, but you get into their bullpen early, it could cause some fits. Texas brings a 1-2-3 punch. You're going to see their starter, their number one guy, go to Sunday night. He's going to be upper 90s as a starter, and he holds that velocity throughout his.
It's amazing.
Yeah, throughout the
amazing.
game.
It's just amazing. NC State, they brought in that closer to finish off Arkansas the other night, and that guy, I mean, he could go straight to Double-A, but that lefty was running it up at 97 and 98 and just spotting it. It was incredible. Don't forget now, I want to throw this out. Vanderbilt is looking to repeat. Vanderbilt is the defending national champions in baseball. There was not a tournament last year. Vandy was the 19 winner. So Vandy is looking to go back-to-back. You can call it crazy if you want with the COVID and all, but you got the heart of a champion, too, in there. Vanderbilt's trying to defend. I would love to be, Trent, I would love to be the Omaha ticket manager because I think I'd get a bonus. You've got the pandemic is gone, basically, okay? Traveling is back. People are looking to travel, right? Dying to get out of the house. And look at these monsters you've got that'll bring a lot of fans. These baseball powers, Stanford, Vanderbilt, Arizona's history. You've got Texas and Mississippi State. That's 5 just baseball mad, colleges historically. I'd love to sell tickets. I think this thing's I think they're going to be falling out of damn TD Ameritrade.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, you're already,
Tennessee's going to bring a ton.
Tennessee's going to bring a ton. Mississippi State's going to bring a ton. Texas always brings a lot. I mean, if you're Tennessee, you got to be going bonkers right now because this is not – they're not a storied baseball program, really. I mean,
they're not.
They kind of came out of nowhere, but they're good.
They are good. Trent, last thing, we'll get out of here. Our time is up. Any thought, and this could, I would guess this may take care of itself this weekend. Any thought on what's LSU got to finally do with their head coaching position, LSU baseball?
I am hearing Bianca out of Ole Miss. He's an LSU alum. Mm-hmm. And, of course, a lot of Ole Miss people are like, please take him. He's been on the hot seat there for years. That's a logical pick. I think you and I talked last week about the Casey situation. That didn't make a ton of sense. I thought maybe a Sarloos would get a chance, but tip your hat to that guy, man. He hung in there and got the TCU job. Yeah. And I would lean toward Bianca at this point. I mean, it is getting late. Jobs are filling up. And I don't think they're going to take like a storied assistant. I think they're going to take somebody who's got head coach experience. Because
and it sounds like
I've said it with you umpteen times. you have got to win championships in Baton Rouge. There's no excuses, and I know Bianchi doesn't have any, but man, you can get some players to go play at LSU. I guarantee you that.
And it sounds like Todd Walker, the former LSU, former big leaguer, and really good college baseball analyst, Todd Walker's kind of thrown his name in the hat and he's endorsing Bianco via the media. From what I understand, Todd Walker said, hey, man, if my man gets the job, comes back to LSU, I'd love to be the hitting coach. If that's all true, I kind of read some of that stuff. That'd be kind of neat.
He wouldn't be a bad. They're old teammates, right? He wouldn't be a bad guy to teach some hitting. I guarantee you that.
Last thing though, with the LSU job, it's not that it's never imperative, but it's really imperative that LSU hits on the right baseball coach this hire, because let's assume they get the wrong guy in. LSU right now, we're not talking history, we're talking right now. LSU baseball in the SEC is holding on to maybe the rung number 6, if you will, on the ladder. I mean, they have been passed by in the last 5 or so years. They've been passed by a lot of programs. If they don't make the right hire, it may be a long time, if ever, if they can get back up there. I know they've got a lot going for them, but Trent, wouldn't you agree? LSU right now in, say, the last 5 years in SEC baseball, they're sitting at the number 6 or 7 step, I think.
Yeah, and you make a great point, because they cannot backslide any further.
No.
You know, there was so much pressure on Maneri the last 5 or 6 years. You know, he has won a national championship, and he's got 6 or 7 appearances into Omaha, and you know, a lot of people would suggest that it was a forced retirement.
Yeah, retired.
I'm hearing you know, potential health issues, but we shall see, right? That's a big time job, big time pressure, and you can't lose. You can't have you cannot have one off season, and they've got the money too. So if somebody comes in there and they stumble early on, they'll buy that contract out and move on to the next one
in a heartbeat. Good job, Trent.
Tough place to work.
Yeah, tough place. They want results, no doubt about it. Good job, Trent. I'll let you go. It's going to be hot all weekend. Stay inside and watch college baseball. How about that?
Good idea.
Thank you, buddy. That is our buddy, our longtime college baseball analyst, Trent Intorcia, who, by the way, you heard in the interview a moment ago, he played on that '85 Mississippi State team, and they locked horns with Texas in a classic game. Didn't go Mississippi State's way, but boy, what a great game that was, and a great era of college baseball back in the mid to late '80s. I would imagine that Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark will get contacted and have gotten contacted about a lot of interviews, because, boy, that was a historic game with those stars playing for Mississippi State against those future stars from Texas, and the way it played out. That'll play our show out on a Friday. Thanks to Coach Steve Spurrier. I hope you enjoyed the Florida Football Flashback we did earlier with Coach Steve Spurrier. We took a look at the '91 season. It was pretty fascinating. Coach Spurrier kind of walked through his memories of that '91 season. If you missed it, check it out on our Facebook page. The archive show will be there for you. You can also check it out on our 1010XL Facebook page. They archive the show if you missed it. Thanks to all of our podcast listeners. We appreciate it if you are consuming the show via the podcast. We appreciate you doing that. Remember, at any time, you can come on over to the streaming world. Just follow College Sports Today on Facebook, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel of the same name, College Sports Today. Check out our brand new sponsor, Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. Again, Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. There you have it, some awesome Duval T-shirts. A new design that's going to sweep the area. You can personalize your area of Duval. As you can see, West Side and San Marco, and there's almost 20 different locations. Jacks Beach, Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach. Go to the Facebook page under that name, Duval Pride T-Shirt Company. The store, the online store, is up and running. Good time to get your gear, because football season is right around the corner. That'll wrap it up. I want to thank Trent Intorcia for giving us his insight on the College World Series. Of course, Coach Steve Spurrier, who will be back on Monday. Shane playing a charity golf tournament today and Monday. Shane will be back with us next Friday, but we'll get together the whole gang again on Monday at 11 a.m. for the next edition of College Sports Day. Special thanks to our producer, Evan Miller. That'll wrap it up. Have a great, cool weekend. Have some fun, watch some ball, and we'll do it again right here, 11 a.m. Monday, College Sports Today.